I put together a quick checklist for how to vlog a Major League Baseball game because why not? Throughout this checklist, I'll mostly be referencing the June 16th Giants game I vlogged. I'm going to split this checklist up into 5 things to do before game day and 5 things to do on game day. The first item on the checklist is to get fully vaccinated. This will maximize the seats you will be eligible for because as of June 2021, at Oracle Park there are vaccinated sections and social distancing sections. Just be sure you're fully vaccinated at least 2 weeks in advance of the game if you plan on sitting in a vaccinated section. And yes, the ushers will check your vaccination card before allowing you to go to your seat. Next on the list is obviously to buy your ticket. My favorite way of purchasing tickets is to go to ESPN.com to look at the team schedule and just go through the tickets link. And no, I'm not sponsored, though that would be a cool enough sponsor for me to become a sellout and just turn this into a sports channel. Next, you'll need to confirm the date and time of the game, which is pretty self-explanatory. Like literally everywhere else you go, you'll want to know how long it will take you to get to the ballpark. Budget extra time if you plan to take a stroll around the stadium for extra B-roll. For the June game I attended, I pretty much timed my trip to get there right before the first pitch, so you don't see much B-roll before the first pitch. Now it's time to choose a vlogging camera, but preferably none of these. I strongly suggest you use a mobile device for 2 reasons. The first and most important is that many stadiums crack down on fancy-looking cameras, which means you risk getting turned away if your camera gear violates the rules. While I've gotten into some pro sporting events with pro cameras, I've also gotten turned away from some, which means my tickets went to waste. So it's not worth the risk, especially because of the second reason I suggest using a mobile device. The cameras on phones are good. Most modern phones shoot in 4K like the iPhone 11 I used for the Giants game, but even the 1080p on older phones looks pretty good. I documented my entire 2016 trip to Paris using my iPhone 6 that shoots video in 1080p. So my rule of thumb is that if you want to vlog a pro sporting event, it's safest to use a camera that can fit in your pocket. The next item on the list goes without saying, make sure your vlogging device is fully charged. Now that we've properly prepared for game day, we've reached the game day part of the checklist. If your camera still isn't charged, you probably have time. Otherwise, the first item on the game day checklist is applying sunscreen. See how greasy I look in these shots? It's because I applied too much sunscreen without dabbing it with a tissue, which is a technique I now use before going out, but sunscreen is important if at least part of the game will be during the daytime. Once you're all lathered with sunblock, it's time to head to the stadium for some pre-game video. If you're like me and sometimes get to the game barely on time, then feel free to skip this item and move on to the in-game shots. But if you do get to the ballpark early, here are some pre-game shots to consider. Views of the stadium, batting practice or pre-game warm-ups, and the starting lineups. Once the game starts, an easy obligatory shot is to get the first pitch. First pitch, 646. But after that is where things get tricky because all the good things you accidentally capture will be some combination of anticipation and luck. And this is because you can't predict which pitch will generate action. For example, a hitter could homer on the first pitch or he could homer on the third pitch. You never know. This means you need to commit to filming entire at-bats and then just edit out all the pitches that don't add anything to your vlog. Unfortunately, this means that sometimes entire at-bats go onto the chopping block when you're editing because, let's face it, a lot of baseball is pretty mundane. But if you're lucky, you could catch moments like this. If you miss a home run, you can always just film the players rounding the bases and then film the replay on the scoreboard. Lastly, anticipate the final play of the game by filming every at-bat that could potentially result in either the winning run or the final out. Once the game is over, there are some obvious post-game shots to grab. The winning team celebration, the final score on the scoreboard, stadium shots at night, fans walking out of the stadium, and nighttime cityscape shots. The final step is to transfer, view, and edit. I didn't need to put this item here because it goes without saying, but it gave my checklist an even 10 items. Here I suggest opening all of your video files in a video player to watch them all the way through in order, so you can mentally form a game plan for how to tackle your edit. Anyway, I hope this was of use. If not, then it's too late because I already uploaded it.